Kevin. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. First, I just want to say I love your TikTok. Goat Songs is my favorite TikTok series with the popcorn necklace. Incredible. Brings a smile to my face. My first question for you, pretty simple. What drew you to the script of They Slash Them?
You know, I thought it was so brilliant that John Logan had taken this story that has an inherent horror to it, which is this concept of gay conversion and the people being cajoled or talked or you know mind controlled into believing that they can be something that they're not, and taking that and instead of making a little drama about a camp, turning framing it in this very fun, accessible genre of a slasher movie, in a structure that was very much reminiscent of 70s camp horror movies. I thought that was really a stroke of genius.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you're pretty familiar with earlier slasher films, and now you're in a slasher film. Now, what is it like to kind of be on these two ends of the slasher subgenre kind of timeline so far?
I like this end better than the other end.
Fair enough. And so in playing your character, he's an interesting guy to put it lightly, I guess. What was that like kind of getting into that character, and was that challenging or difficult for you in any step of the way?
Well, first off, John's a great writer, so it was really on the page. But once it was on the page, we really started to, you know, collaborate on what the backstory might be and talk about the way that he would sort of present himself. Because you could make the choice with this character to play him much more of a tough guy, sort of, drill sergeant, kind of macho, scary, being scary from the jump street. And what we really wanted to do was make him as charming, as gentle, and almost kind of hippie-ish as possible, so that we had a place to go when you start to see this dark turn and when you start to realize what his agenda really is. And yeah, I really liked I liked playing it. I really wanted to have create I kept thinking about, make sure that you're not threatening, make sure that you're not, if I wanted to talk these kids into this insane idea that this time at camp was going to turn them into something that they weren't, how would I do it if I really, I mean, he's a great hustler in that kind of way, and that was a
Yeah.
fun thing to play.
So I'm curious, in your experience, especially within the horror genre, do you like playing more like heroic characters or nastier characters? Which ones have you had more fun playing?
That's I in all genres. I don't care so much if it's a horror, if it's a villain or a hero.
Okay.
If
Cool.
the character is really well rounded, then I'm down. I mean, I'll give you an example. The character that I played in Stir of Echoes was the hero, but he was a great character. Really, you know,
I love that movie so much.
yeah, it's a good one, right? And he, he had his own kind of personal struggles that were about unrealized dreams, and he's a guy who's out and working class guy in Chicago, and loves his kid. His kid's kind of odd, and it's, I mean, there was a lot of great stuff to play there. Owen is a great character too. So it's not so
Yeah.
much to me. I'm not necessarily drawn to the villain or to the hero.
Cool. So I'm curious, what was the first horror movie you ever saw?
First horror movie I ever saw was House of Wax with Vincent Price in 3D.
Oh, in 3D. How old were you? Do you remember?
Pretty young. I remember having to somehow sneak and pretend that I guess I was trying to pretend that I was older or younger. I can't remember. I think it was probably because we were able to afford to go, I think it was probably a second run, like kind of bargain theater. And we probably went in the afternoon. And I remember that you put on 3D glasses, and then it was like, the smoke would come in, you go, and then there was a great moment where the guy has, those little things where you have a paddle and a ball and a rubber band. They're in the old days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Boing, 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 and then he goes like this, and everyone goes, and there was some scary stuff in it too. But I think that was the first one.
And then follow up, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Scariest movie I've ever seen. Wow, that's pretty tough. I don't know. Scariest. I don't know. Maybe Audition. Japanese film Audition.
Such a good, disgusting movie. It's so good. It's incredible. And so I talked to Darwin and Monique earlier today, and they said that they all called you K-Bay. So I love that nickname on set. They told me, what was that like working with this incredible cast of mostly younger people for They/Them?
Yep. Great. They were so fun to be around, their kind of energy, and to watch, and, to think about the fact that they're gonna, and already are starting to lead the charge on progressive ways of thinking, and being role models to so many oftentimes historically ostracized people and communities. It was amazing. I mean, I loved being around them and seeing them do their thing.
And then what was it like watching Friday the 13th with them, all of them together? Was that like a kind of a cool communal experience?
No, I didn't watch it with them.
You didn't? Why not?
They watched it, but I didn't watch it with them. I don't really like watching my old movies. And I don't think they didn't invite me anyway, so.
Oh, rude. Okay. And then my final question for you is, why do you think films like this one are so important for us to be having now, not just within the horror genre, but just within movies in general?
I think that for people that have for many years not been able to see themselves on the screen, there's a lot of different types of examples of that. To see yourself represented in the case of this movie in a heroic way, and an authentic way, is just great. We have to keep moving forward in terms of our point of view about the differences in the way that people live their lives, and this is a good example of that.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Kevin, so much for chatting with me today about They/Them. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.